Welcome to level 6. You have come a very long way so far. Great job. Now that we have some basic habits set around what kinds of foods to eat, we're going to start learning how to love our food and listen to our bodies again. One of the negative side effects of crash dieting is that we have to teach ourselves to ignore our bodies, ignore what they're telling us in order to starve ourselves to create a deficit so we can lose weight. We've already discussed many times this doesn't work in the long run. Sustainable nutrition is far less about what you don't eat, and it's much more about what you do eat. So now that you're eating foods that do a much better job of providing the nutrition you need, it's time to work on learning to listen again to the best source of information that you have, your body. See, once you're feeding yourself real food at regular times and not junk food sporadically and starving yourself by not providing the nutrients it needs, then our bodies have evolved to be very good at telling us when we're hungry and when we're full, and even what we should eat. We just have to learn to listen. So here's what that looks like practically, because that always sounds good and people always say it, but here's what we're going to actually do to begin to develop that skill for this level. First, eat when you're hungry. Sounds simple. But when you do start to feel a hunger impulse, stop and ask, am I really hungry, or is this something else giving me the munchies, like boredom or thirst? We talked about that in level 1. Sometimes we mistake thirst for hunger. Or it could be stress. Stress is a big trigger for just getting the munchies, but we're not really hungry. But if the conclusion when we ask that is, yeah, actually I am really hungry and I need some energy, then that's a good time to eat. Then about halfway through that meal, ask a couple simple questions, just to be engaged in the meal that you're eating. Ask, am I enjoying this food? What are my favorite parts? Why? And finally, am I starting to get full? Is this filling me up? And then here's the trick. When you are full, just stop eating. You don't have to finish everything on your plate. This, ironically, is the most pleasurable way to eat, because you get all of the enjoyment of the food and actually none of the physical discomfort or psychological regret. Just stop when you're full. Your body will tell you. Just have to be sensitive and listen. Now finally, the last part of this is after the meal, take note of how that food made you feel. Become consciously aware of it, or even a good idea is to write it down in a journal. See, if the food is right for you, it should feel good after you ate. You should feel energized, and it should make you feel alive. But if you find that you get sleepy or lethargic or bloated, you don't feel so good or queasy, then write it down somewhere and try eating something different next time you get hungry. See, your body in those cases is actually trying to tell you something, and it's time to listen. Keep this up. It may seem like a long process, but you'll be surprised how intelligent your instincts can become with time, and how much just stopping to think about the things that we are eating can dramatically naturally curb, organically curb old impulses to eat bad foods. See, once you begin a more respectful relationship with food, it makes it easier to eat accordingly to what really makes you feel good and what you really enjoy in the process. It could be argued that this is in fact true pleasure. So, in order to pull this off, it's important that you stay mindful while you eat. So, what that means basically is avoid eating while you watch TV or read a book. In one study, female dieters actually tripled the amount of food that they ate while they were absorbed in the film, simply because they weren't paying attention when their body said they're full. So your goals for level 6 are to, number 1, eat mindfully. Eat when you're hungry. Enjoy the food to satisfaction and stop when you're full, and then take note of how that food makes you feel. Eat when you're hungry, enjoy the food, stop when you're full, and take note of how that food makes you feel.